I'm here at the Turning Point USA America Fest. Michael Seifert's with me. He is the CEO and founder of PublicSq, which is one of the hottest properties really in all of, not just media, but the conservative ecosystem. You're at the forefront of trying to create a parallel economy so that conservatives who are fed up with giving our money to woke fascists, well, we don't have to do that as much anymore, thanks to you. Tell me about the business model and tell me a little bit about the evolution of the brand.
Well, our thesis is pretty simple. There are a lot of consumers around our country. In fact, we believe it's actually over 100 million that have felt ignored, neglected, antagonized, actually. We're one of those consumers. We felt really frustrated watching a decade of companies turn against me and my family's values, trying to lecture us about progressive politics when I was just trying to buy a cup of coffee or engage a regular consumer decision. We turned that frustration into a solution because we didn't want to just boycott. We wanted to actually put our money towards something positive. I think that's more powerful over the long run. Boycotting is important, but it's incomplete unless I shift my consumer spending somewhere else. And so in January of 2021, my wife and I had on a piece of paper a list of businesses, about 20, that we knew from our local community we could feel proud of supporting because we knew the values of the owner, we knew they aligned with ours. Many of these businesses came from different industries, but they were all aligned because they made their communities better. Many of them were run by veterans, really cool network. I posted that list in a few Facebook groups and shared it with some friends. And then I discovered some other people in other cities saying, hey, we'd love our list. I'd love to see a list like that for our community. And so we thought, well, gosh, what if we actually turn this list into a digital marketplace? Businesses could add themselves to the list by affirming a set of core values central to the list. And we could create this really neat parallel economy ecosystem. That way consumers could know that they would have businesses they could feel confident supporting. That idea was January of 2021. And now in less than 3 years, PublicSq has become the world's largest marketplace of businesses that have not gone woke. These are businesses that love the country, the Constitution, and the values that it protects. We have over 75,000 business vendors now, well over 1.5 million consumer members. It's been incredible, and we're just getting started.
Give me some examples of some of the brands that are featured on PublicSq.
Well, one thing that's pretty cool about the company is that our 75,000 plus vendors are all small businesses. So many of the names you probably have not actually heard of, they're small businesses. So we have some of the bigger brands like Good Ranchers or Patriot Mobile or Origin USA, Jocko Willenick and Joe Rogan's brand
of course.
that makes amazing American-made goods. LC King, one of the oldest denim manufacturers in the United States. Nurturals, which is great household cleaning products. And then we have a lot of incredible smaller brands with stories to tell. Katie's Ice Cream out of Tennessee. We've got amazing brands that we've actually started, like EveryLife, which is the only pro-life diaper company in the United States today, which is pretty exciting.
Yes.
So we have this incredible mix of brands, whether you're looking for ammo, diapers, household goods, you're looking for a new bank. We have service businesses as well. So great banks like Axos that have taken a stand against some of the corporate ESG-dominated economic philosophies that we're seeing on Wall Street. We've seen banks like Old Glory or Farmers and Merchants in Southern California. These brands are phenomenal. They cross industries. They wouldn't identify purely as political. These are businesses that are focused on excellence and quality, meritocracy, and it just so happens that they're a small business that aligns with your values as well. So it's pretty cool.
If people want to get involved, they just download the app, and then what's next?
So you can head to the App Store or Google Play and download the app on either of those platforms, or you can head to PublicSq.com. About 50% of our shoppers utilize the experience on desktop, and you can immediately browse. You don't need to sign up. You just jump in, explore the platform. You can search by category, you can search by keyword, and find businesses or products that align with your values. We have two pieces of functionality that are pretty exciting. Number one is Near Me, so you can actually find businesses that are local. You can have a relational transaction, which is pretty exciting. So if you want that face-to-face interaction, have that trust that's fundamental to your transaction, you can do that there. And then also there's the ability to shop right there from the platform. So if you find products of all different industries, you add them to the same shopping cart and you can check out. Multiple vendors from one checkout experience, kind of like an Amazon. This allows us to compete on the convenience battle. And it's simple to use. It's no charge to the consumer or the business to sign up, totally free.
Wow.
So if you come, check it out, find something you want, you can transact. We make our money from sharing in that transaction fee. We also sell digital advertisements on the platform,
Sure.
and then we own some of our own products, so we make our money that way as well. From the business, we don't need to charge them for them to join. We don't need to sell consumer data to make money. That's another big piece.
Yeah.
For years, I felt like my data was being used as a pawn and wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
We don't take it lightly that consumers have trusted us. The last thing we would ever do is abuse that trust. And we figured out a way to make a lot of money without needing to sell consumer data. So it's simple to use, it's very transparent, focused, and we hope it's seamless for people.
It feels like the partnership with Don Jr. was a really big way of getting the word out. Could you give us some detail on that?
Yeah, I met Don Jr. through a gentleman named Alex Marlow, great patriot.
Sure.
Alex told Don, hey, you love the parallel economy, you've really been singing this tune. I met Michael, this company, PublicSq, that's starting this idea. This was over almost 2 years ago. Said, I think you should meet him. You guys should talk about it. I flew to Palm Beach, Florida, where I now live. We're a political refugee out of California.
Sure.
And met Don, sat in his house on the back porch, and within 30 seconds, our conversation quickly evolved. We discovered we had a lot of shared hobbies. It just felt like from the first words of the conversation, there was a synergy. And thankfully, that synergy turned into an investment. Don invested in our company, actually joined our board, an amazing, amazing patriot. He means what he says. If you've met the Trumps, you know that they're some of the most genuine people on the planet. He's very genuine, genuinely cares about the parallel economy, uplifting small businesses. They're populist at their nature. And so it was incredible to build this plane in flight with Don's help. He's a great business advisor as well. A lot of people obviously applaud him for his politics, but he's very business savvy.
Yes.
Gets a lot of that from his dad, obviously. And what's pretty cool too is that Don's a big believer in the idea of independent ownership of small businesses generally.
Yeah.
And so our small businesses have been able to meet Don and have loved that in many cases.
Wow.
We just launched a PublicSq Town Hall series where we actually have PublicSq businesses in a city sitting with the local elected officials and Don. So we just did that in Indiana, launched our Town Hall series with Congressman Jim Banks running for Senate and Don Jr. And then a bunch of our businesses in a room getting to hear their concerns. Don's put us on the map in a major way, and we're grateful for his expertise. So yeah, the future's bright. We're getting into the outdoor industry a lot as well, and that's an industry that Don cares a lot about. So it's been a really natural synergy. Kimberly Guilfoyle as well, been a great partner, Don's fiance. And so the future's bright. We couldn't have built this without the grassroots effort of the people and the buy-in of great leaders like Don.
Let's talk a little bit about the parallel economy in terms of what you think is going to happen next, because it feels like there's some effort to have a place where you can invest your funds on a conservative level. You're starting a sort of a town square where people can buy goods. What do you think the future, project out 5 or 10 years, what are we looking at?
I think in the short term, there's some of the culture war behaviors that are influencing the growth of the parallel economy.
Yeah.
Bud Light comes out and does something and we have alternatives. Target does something and we have alternatives. YouTube censors people and Rumble tries to lift them up.
Yeah.
We see this happen, this dichotomy of interests played out on the national stage that I think will continue to lead to these lightning strikes of growth for the parallel economy. I think over the long term, though, what we're going to start to see happen is that it's going to become more of an ingrained, regular part of our life, and it's going to become more self-sustaining and not so reliant on these lightning strike culture moments. It'll just become a more regular fabric of a free market. Amazon will do what it does, and we'll exist as a fruitful competitor. And consumers will make a decision, not just based upon a cultural moment, but based upon a track record of consistent quality and a consistent valuing of the consumer. So I think over the long term, the parallel economy will become less of a controversial flash in the pan sort of moment and more of an ingrained root in our economy.
Well, I can tell you, talking to tens of millions of people every day via our content at Breitbart, people are so fed up with the corporations. It's a constant pressure to provide them alternatives, and very few people are making that effort. Help me understand some of the various boycott efforts, because the Bud Light boycott worked very well. It seems like efforts to boycott Disney have lowered their share values, but they're still a leviathan. And then some other ones have not done well. Some other boycotts, I don't need to go into those specifically, but some of them totally flopped. Are you analyzing this stuff, and what are you seeing as the keys to a boycott being successful And I had a feeling you're going to say when there's a natural alternative.
I think you're exactly right. A company like Disney, in many ways for many Americans, is harder to boycott than a company like Bud Light. So if you boycott Bud Light, just go to your local restaurant. There's lots of other draft breweries from your local community.
The same price and better. Right.
Same price or better, and they taste better. So it's like,
they taste better.
That was the easiest, I'm so glad it happened. It was the easiest boycott. We needed that W, right?
Yes.
Ben and Jerry's, similar deal. When they come out and they lament the fact that the United States is on stolen land, there are alternatives, and we're proud to support those alternatives. Disney's a little interesting because it is a conglomerate behemoth that has a lot of different tentacles. Now, boycotts against them have still been successful.
Yeah, they have.
But we have to have the long game in mind. And so I think that going back to my previous comments, I think you can bridge my answers together here by actually saying it's a long-term thing that has to happen where folks almost see it as less of a boycott and more of I'm just switching my consumer habits.
That's right.
I'm not satisfied with a brand any longer. So if you try a pair of shoes on and they don't fit you well, you go and you get a new pair of shoes. Yeah. We don't constitute that as a boycott, but that's what you did.
Yeah.
You stopped spending money with a company because they no longer met your consumer needs and you moved your habits. The same natural element to switching your consumer decisions, that's how we need to start thinking about boycotts. Company X did a thing that offended you and your family's belief system. Your reason for leaving that company is just as legitimate as if you just didn't like their products and they didn't fit you well. If anything, it's more legitimate because it involves your value system. So unsubscribe from that corrupt company, subscribe to a new set of alternatives. I think our ability to sustain that consumer journey over the long haul is going to be based upon our ability to build quality alternatives.
That's right.
Our movement will be killed if the alternatives we build are the Patriot version, but it doesn't have quality.
Yes.
I think nothing will kill our momentum faster than saying, hey, you should come spend money with us, but the product quality is worse.
That's right.
We're not going to be able to truly shift things for the long haul.
That is the key, and not to use myself as an example, but that's all I can go off of. Things like Nike, I've always hated Nike as a brand, but they fit my feet. And so it was really hard to get off of it, and finally I found a company that fit my feet just as well, and then it was very easy. I'll never buy another pair of Nike, is not a problem, but I had to find where do I go, and I had to, sometimes it takes too much effort, and that's what you're here to do. You're here to show them, here are your options, we got them all in one place.
That's exactly right, and our goal is that you wouldn't have to feel like you're changing everything overnight.
Yes.
I think that's something big too. I hear from a lot of folks that say, I'm still got an iPhone and I'm still driving a car made by somebody that doesn't like me and I'm still banking with somebody. Our encouragement to folks is start somewhere.
Yes,
start
agreed.
with shoes. Start with a cup of coffee. Did you know Starbucks funds abortion? Okay, now you know. If you don't like that, here's a lot of other coffee companies you can shop from. Did you know that your bank has a track record of canceling conservatives if you disagree with their political views of the bank? Now you know. Here's Axos Bank, here's Farmers and Merchants, here's Old Glory, here's Carrollton. So I think it's important that consumers recognize you don't have to do everything overnight, you can start somewhere. Just like it took decades for the authoritarian progressives to decimate our economy and turn it into this woke, weird, ESG-filled cesspool, it will take decades to come out of it. This is not an overnight thing. And I think Americans, especially conservatives, have to recognize that all of our efforts, whether political, whether cultural, whether entertainment-focused or commerce-focused, need the long game in mind. We are not going to win overnight. It takes decades of hard work. My hope is, though, with persistence, we can have this new American Renaissance era where manufacturing comes back to our shores and companies here don't embrace DEI and ESG anymore. They embrace meritocracy and excellence. They lead to the betterment of Main Street, not just their oligarchs on Wall Street. If we can do that, man, the future is super bright. It's bright for my kids, bright for your kids.
Yes.
But it takes making the sacrificial commitments now in this era to see that sort of future.
What's the media's reaction to your company? Because I feel like they're going to attack you a little bit, but if they attack you too much, it's going to drive people to your brand.
It's interesting you asked that question in that light. Anytime they attack us too much, those are our biggest days of growth.
Of course, of course.
So when our first media hit came out in San Diego, the San Diego Union Tribune came out and called us a threat to public health. because the businesses on our platform were not infringing their consumers' medical liberties during the COVID season. When that happened, that was the biggest day of growth to that point. When Axios came out and called us alt-right, drove growth to the platform. When MSNBC recently came out and said that we're a weird far-right group of fanatics that are trying to create this parallel economy, it drove a lot of businesses and consumers to join our platform because they said, I'm not buying what MSNBC is selling. They're missing it. They don't get it. PublicSq gets it. Breitbart gets it.
Yes.
There is a narrative that they are ignoring out of corporate America largely, but in the media apparatus as well. Corporate media is ignoring the fact that there are millions of Americans out there that do not feel represented anymore by the existing institutions.
Yes.
And anytime those existing institutions poke the bear, it's a new reminder to the patriots around our country that, gosh, man, they do not get me. And I want someone who does. And that's where PublicSq comes in. That's where Breitbart comes in. So we've seen a migration happen anytime we get hit.
People are starving for this stuff. So if people want to support you and get involved, what do they do?
We'd be grateful for that. This only grows because of the power of we the people. They can head to PublicSq.com. We are the fastest growing marketplace of consumers and businesses like this because of a grassroots effort. So I'd encourage folks, if they like what they see, they support a business on the platform, let the business know. Small businesses in our country need their support now more than ever. You can find us at PublicSq.com. You can find us on all the different social media platforms. We encourage folks to download the app or to use it on the desktop if they'd like. Check it out. And if they like what they see, come back and make another purchase. Join our ambassador program if you want to spread the word.
Wow.
I guess the last thing I would say is that if you are a business owner and you want to be seen by a network of consumers that will value what you're offering because you're trying to service your community with meritocracy and excellence at the forefront, join the platform. You're going to see a surge of new customers that I think will eclipse what you see out of the Googles and the Facebooks of the world.
Wow, that is so cool. That was really exciting. Congrats on all the success so far. And hopefully this is just the very beginning.
We hope so too.